Hello, I'm Angela and I'm going to demonstrate to you today a garden style design which is inspired by a woodland glade. Being in lockdown, I think, has really heightened our sense of wanting to get out and be in the garden or walking through woods, which is one of our lovely pleasures that we have, being on the edge of the New Forest. So I'm going to place materials into this construction that has been made, and I want to capture the sense of growth and energy that's coming from underneath the earth, underneath the woodland floor, and the woodland floor materials that are in here represent the energy that makes the plants grow and rise from that floor. So I'm going to place materials into the glass tubes, as you can see, and we have lots of woodland floor material. Here we've got roots, moss, lichen, twigs, fungi. So I'm going to start by placing in some fern, and this is a gorgeous lush green fern that's just sprouting up in the garden but also in our woodlands that we have. So I'm going to put these in as they grow. So I'm going to place them in clusters of 2 or 3, and that represents the way that you would find them in their natural habitat. When you're arranging in a vegetative style like this, it's important that you capture that growth habit, and that will give you a very harmonious look. It will give you a lovely look that is comfortable to live with. Placing those in, because they're going into water, it means that they're going to have the best chance of lasting as opposed to going into floral foam. So that's the fern. Don't they look beautiful when they come up out of the ground and they're unfurling? It's so fascinating to watch the growth and the way that they start to appear through the ground. I have another fern here which is called bird's nest fern, that's the common name, or a splenium. And this is a more solid form of fern, and it has a sort of a strap-like leaf, leathery, shiny texture there, but very soft stems. So doing the same again, just cutting them and placing them in to the tubes in little clusters as they would come. The reason they're called bird's nest fern is because they have these little tiny bits of unfurling inside the plant, and as it comes up, they all sort of start to gather around, just like a nest. They have very striking dark stems which give you a line, a vein at the back of the leaf there. Quite interesting. And when I'm placing the materials into the tubes, I'm thinking about contrasting forms, but also I'm thinking about the fact that they don't all have to face the front. It's not a front-facing arrangement. It's going to be a three-dimensional design, capturing basically a piece of landscape or woodland. So these are the ferns, first of all. Another material now, very light and airy, and this is very abundant on the roadsides at this time of the year, and that's the cow parsley. It's so gorgeous, light and airy, and it has this beautiful umbelliferous form. Placing these in, this will give us some height. Gets a little bit tangly. Some height now, and an open up the eye and the space and the volume of the arrangement. These just really grow in a scattering, so that's how I'm arranging them, reflecting that growth habit. Turning it round, it's really not a one-sided arrangement, it's an all-round design, so all the materials will be placed around the whole of the structure. There we go. Turning it round. So you have the sort of dark undergrowth here and all the brightness coming up as materials push their way through the earth and become part of that woodland glade. Another material that's really attractive in that setting is this one, Solomon's seal. It's a very beautiful arching, elegant arching shape, and it has these little droplets here. Now these are a little bit mature because I've picked them at the moment. They're of the day, they're not the sort of at their peak, but I like that aspect because when you're arranging vegetatively, you don't find everything in perfect condition at the right moment. So I don't worry about the fact that they are mature. I think that that is representative of the style that we have. So the arching aspect of these brings the eye out, gives us some soft curves and a little bit of rhythm to draw the eye from one area to another. Gorgeous. There we go. Again, materials going in different directions, sort of nodding to each other, saying hello. Not all in lines like soldiers, so that's the sort of look and effect that I want to achieve. This one is a more woody stem, and this will give us some height, and this one is called Spirea, and again it's quite mature. We've had a bit of wind lately and it's been very blowy, so lots of the very delicate white flowers have been scattered, but it's leaving these little tiny seed heads here, and they give a gorgeous little green colour, little green hint. So I'm going to place these in, like I said, much woodier stem. They do have a little bit of an arching habit too, so it's quite nice. Get them up high, quite elegant, airy. If you wanted to make something like this yourself, you might not have this in your handbag or your kitchen cupboard, but you can recreate that sort of look by just gathering a few pieces of material from the floor in the garden. As of today, this week, we are able to just get outside and have a walk, which I'm sure lots of you will be very relieved about. So how long have we spent yearning to go outside and maybe meet up with friends, go to flower club perhaps, where you've got lots of like-minded friends. I'm sure you've missed them like I've missed my flower club friends very much. And so you can go out, pick up a few little materials, and all of this has come from the garden on this occasion. There we go. So it's quite airy and showy. It's quite showy. It's a bit blousy as well at the minute, isn't it? Okay, let's put a little bit of solidity in. So we're going to pop these ones in, and this is the leaf of the hellebore. So the flowers, well, they're just, most of them are coming to the end of their season, but the leaves are really springing up nicely, and this will just give a little bit of solidity at ground level. So I'm going to bring these in low, and I love the way that these sort of come up and they're almost horizontal, so this is quite a different form to lots of the vertical arching materials that we have. So give these a little snip, and then we'll place those in quite low, be nestling on the floor. So when you're doing a garden style arrangement, it means that we're looking very intensely at what is available to us at the same time. So we wouldn't be looking to buy flowers, then arrange them, you know, the things that are maybe out of season. So you wouldn't put, say, daffodils with poinsettias that you might get at Christmas. So it's all of the season, of the day. And I want to put some materials into the centre of the design so that creates some recession and depth, gives it some sense of, heightens the sense of depth in the centre there. Now these ones here, these are from my garden, and these are the digitalis or the foxglove. Beautiful height to them, nice little curve to them. They're very, they're just not quite upright yet. They're not quite mature enough to be stark, you know, standing so straight. And I cut these from the garden, and this is my entire stock of foxgloves. So actually I'm going to arrange them there. You can see that they aren't all showing colour. This is the most colourful one, the most mature one. So I'm going to place those in. Aren't they so elegant? And again, it's nice if they nod to each other, say hello when they're in the garden, when they're arranged. So let's place those in, and then we get a sense of multi-direction with these. I've taken off most of the leaves because some of them were damaged, and also they're quite soft, and they get in the way a little bit when you're trying to arrange in a design like this. So it's best to create your own foliage base and then add in the flowers that have been defoliated a little bit, turning it round so we can arrange all the way through front and the back and the middle. There we go. So we have that lovely sort of curve at the top there swirling around. This one is a very pretty foliage in the garden at the moment, and this is Montbretia. Has those gorgeous orangey flowers when they start to flower, and then in the autumn you get the gorgeous seed heads which you can dry and use in autumn flower arranging. And this I think you can almost see the energy coming up through the leaves. They're almost transparent there, the lime green, really lush colour. And again, this is a different form, so we've got more of a strap shape leaf there. It looks quite grassy. Bring it up through. So we've got lots of green, but there's lots of different leaf shapes there. Green is so nice for, you know, the mind and the spirit, so soothing, so calming. Okay, so now I'm going to add in, I just had 2 or 3 of these, and this is a hellebore, a very vibrant lime greeny one, quite branching, and look, they have funny sort of very long arms, and I'm going to just snip those. Notice that I'm using the hellebore flowers and the leaves in separate placements, so I've got more control over how they are arranged. Again, they're branching, so it means it moves the eye from one area to another. Turn it round. There we go. And then, talking of lime green, now we're going to illuminate it a little bit more by placing in this one. This is the Viburnum opulus, and commonly known as the snowball tree. In the gardens at the moment, most of them are really big white snowballs, but I managed to get these which are still in the lime green immature state, and they have the woody stem and then the beautiful lime green snowball at the top there. So these will give a good splash of lime green and a bit more of a solid form through the design. So placing those into the tubes, and we've got a few of these, so the repetition placement of them will mean that we get the eye moving all the way through, so from the one side to the other, and then from the front to the back. Last one. There we go. And then this is the very last thing to go in. And I saved these to last because they're really quite special and quite delicate, but it's the gorgeous euphorbia or woodland spurge. And this is a really, really vibrant acidic green. And I've just got 2 or 3 of these short stems, and I will place those right into the arrangement at fairly low, and they will give us a stronger, lower ground level colour. Just need to watch them if you use them. They've got a milky sap. So health and safety notice, just it might be an irritant to you if you're not careful. There we are, there you have it. So this is my vegetative garden style inspired by a woodland glade. I hope that you'll be able to get out and about soon and enjoy the woodland, the parkland, your garden, just walking out and getting out in the fresh air, being inspired by the green spaces. Thank you for watching. Where the last arrangement was inspired by a woodland glade or a walk in the woods, this one is inspired by a water garden, that cool, relaxing feeling when you're sat in the garden. Maybe you can hear a water feature, maybe not for us ladies of a certain age, eh? But this one is arranged in 2 shallow dishes and they're arranged on 2 separate levels. Just show you like that. The materials are placed into pin holders, and that might be a new way of arranging for some people, or maybe a lot of you would remember doing that from a while ago. Pin holders come in various sizes and forms. This one has a little knobble on the end, maybe to go in a bottle or another use. This one is like a well where you can contain the water, and this one has just a few pins but just spread out, so fewer pins. It would depend what type of materials you're going to use as to which pin holder you would choose. There's 2 or 3 different pin holders in this arrangement because I've wanted to spread the materials around the design and the space that we have, rather than coming from one pin holder and one point. So we have several growing points in the design, very natural vegetative style again. So these materials are all chosen for their compatibility within the season but also in their habitat. And we have equisetum, we have iris, some grasses. We also have some hosta at the base here, giving it depth and a little bit more emphasis and depth to the design. Inside, to finish off, we need to cover the pin holder a little bit, so I've used some stones, some small pebbles and a couple of larger ones, also some moss, tiny little bits of moss tucked in just to conceal the mechanics there, and also I've added in some water, and in the water there's some pondweed. When I asked my husband if he could just lift a little bit of pondweed out of the water for me, he did that with a net, and inside was a load of newts. And I said, no, I think I'll refrain from those, thank you very much. It would have been very authentic. So this is a fairly simple arrangement, nice and natural looking, calming, relaxing to look at. The materials were from my garden, the green materials, the iris came from Tesco. So if you wanted to have a go, maybe if you don't have a pin holder, you could just use a small piece of wood and some nails. You might need to get someone to help you with that. Perhaps sounds a bit heavy duty, doesn't it? But they are easy to get hold of if you can get on the internet, or if you can get to a florist wholesaler when they do open later on. So I hope you enjoy the scene of the water garden and the woodland glade together. Thank you for watching.